We are honored to have with us today Mr. R.S. Sharma, Chairman, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, for keynote address at the Digits Conference 2018, jointly organized by BIMTech and Smith School of Business, University of Maryland. May I request Professor Sunil Mithas, University of Maryland, to welcome Mr. Sharma with the bamboo plant.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is my distinct honor to introduce Mr. R.S. Sharma as our eminent speaker today for the keynote. I think we could not have asked for a better speaker for this conference. Mr. R.S. Sharma is not only a very distinguished public servant, but he's also actually did his master's degree in mathematics from IIT Kanpur. So our last presenter was Shankar Professor from IIT Kanpur. So he is actually a master's degree holder from mathematics in IIT Kanpur. And he also has the distinction of doing a master's degree in computer science. So this conference is about digitization, and Mr. R.S. Sharma did his master's degree in computer science from University of California at Riverside, long time ago. I was doing some research on the internet, and according to internet, he also wrote a program as long back as in 1986, I think, to track stolen firearms and be able to then solve crimes in a record amount of time. So this is so we have a gentleman here who not only is right now influencing policy, but he knows firsthand what information technology's potential is and how it can be used to transform public services. So with that, let me just introduce. He took the role of the chairman of Telecom Regulatory Authority of India in 2015, but before that, he has had very, very distinguished positions. He was the secretary to Government of India in the Department of Electronics and Information Technology. Before that, he was chief secretary to the state government of Jharkhand. I also had a good time. I spent something like 6-7 years in the state of Jharkhand in Jamshedpur. His other assignments included Director General and Mission Director of the Unique Identification Authority of India, which is in news these days. And he was one of the persons instrumental in creating some of the things that were implemented later on. Before his posting at UIDAI, he worked with the government of Jharkhand as Principal Secretary to Departments of Science and Technology, Drinking Water and Sanitation, Information Technology, Rural Development and Human Resource Development, and the Information Technology Department. He was also responsible for formulating state policies for IT and e-governance. I think we could not have asked for a better person in the sense that today you talk about anything related to digitization, in one role or the other, he has been involved in many of the things that are currently being implemented by Government of India through its various ministries related to information technology, electronics, and telecom, which is playing a very, very major role. I think he has been also very significantly involved in various administrative reforms. And as I told you earlier, that he was not only personally responsible for using information technology, but he has actually played a very, very key role in using information technology to simplify many of the administrative processes wherever he has gone. So with those few words, let me welcome you, sir, to provide your keynote address, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, friends, and thank you very much, Professor Bithas, for your wonderful, generous introduction. I was looking at the program, and you have had really wonderful. This is an inaugural Digits conference, but I think it has had some of the most wonderful participants, and it's really wonderful to be here and your company. So I really feel privileged to talk to you about India's digital transformation. Now there is a lot to talk, but I will focus myself on what is so distinct about India's journey of this digital transformation, because lots of things have been happening, but in the last 6, 7, 8 years, things which have happened, they are really quite distinct and quite transformational in real sense of the term. So I'll just focus my intervention on those issues. Let me also begin by saying that the current government came up with a program called Digital India. And the basic objective of that program is to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. And it's really a very well articulated, comprehensive program. It has broadly 3 layers. The first layer is the digital infrastructure layer, which means that you need to have digital infrastructure ubiquitously available to everybody. So digital infrastructure as a utility to citizens is the first layer of that program. Without that, nothing will, of course, progress. The second layer of that program is software and services on demand, which means you need to have software and services which run on this digital infrastructure, which can provide services to the people. And the third layer, the topmost layer, but certainly not less significant, is the layer of citizens' empowerment. So you need to have digital empowerment of citizens to really use this software and services which rides on this digital infrastructure. So it's a very comprehensively and very logically articulated program, and this program has been going on for last about 3 years now, and that actually is some of the things which I'm going to talk about. Yeah. Now, when you talk of what's happening, this is proceeding, but that is not. Huh? Oh.
Is it working here? Can somebody come?
Yeah.
This is not, I think, it's not working from here.
Does it work? Yeah. Yeah. So, this one? Yeah. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. One is the assertion is that India is used to leapfrogging infrastructure. When countries talk about numbers, they talk of millions and, thousands. We don't talk of these numbers, we talk of billions. So imagine, a couple of years back in 2002, we just had a few million telephone lines, and when this revolution of mobile telephone began, now we have close to 1 billion mobile connections. In fact, a couple of months back, it rose to 1.19 billion. And of course, so now the tele density is, as we say, 92 connections per 100 people. So that's something which is really massive, which has happened in the last few years. This is, and essentially how it began, it's not as if some accidental things happened. This is actually a very, crafted things which happened. These are driven by some key policy reforms. So India, the first important policy reform was what is called calling party pays. So, when we used to have this initially, when this telephone, the mobile revolution began, the rates were 8 rupees 50 paisa, 40 paisa per minute. And not only that, the person who was calling was paying that much, the person who was also receiving the call was also paying as much. So then we had the first innovation of the missed call innovation in India, where people will give missed call, and one missed call means something and 2 of them will mean something else. So that way we started exchanging messages. Now from that point onwards, the first reform came where we said the calling, and this is TRAI, the organization which I currently work with. This is, there people said calling party only will pay, the called party will not pay. So that's one part. Then the interconnect user charges, where the other telecom player, how much will he get out of that? They were lowered, and currently it's at 6 paisa per minute. It was lowered the last, couple of months back. Then, getting a mobile SIM. Today you can get a mobile SIM in 3 minutes. And how it happens? It is electronic KYC. So there's no more paperwork done. You just authenticate, and I'll talk about Aadhaar a little while later. You just authenticate yourself electronically, and that digital KYC record goes from the Aadhaar database to that telecom company's database, and it's a complete paperless transaction which takes place in a couple of minutes. So in fact, the newest entrant in telecom sector, Reliance Jio, was able to put up millions of customers in a couple of months only because of this electronic KYC, which is paperless. Then of course, easy market access to equipment, deregulation in FDI, all these factors have contributed for the growth of telecom. And today, the situation is,